What's going on, people? Welcome to United View and welcome to your Manchester United versus West Ham United match preview with myself and Owen. Back to the Premier League, man. Took care of business in Europa League. We can park that to the side for a little while until next week's crunch game against Sociedad, which we have to win by 2-0. But this is about the Premier League, man. And you know what? In the Premier League, we're kind of just building slowly, innit? We're kind of just like a bit of a slow cooker, just going about our business well, building confidence here or there. The last game against Chelsea, you were thinking, you know what? We could have won that game, but we could have lost it in the position we were in going into the last couple of minutes of that game. West Ham have stabilized now. They're bang on mid-table. They are 10th. After a horrendous start to the season. You look at how they travelled to Liverpool the game before last, I think it was. Gave them a real tough game. Jarrod Bowen missed the penalty. They were decent on the counter. Okay, Liverpool might have scored more of Darwin Núñez chances. But, West Ham is never an easy game.
No.
But if we can win this game, we have got Newcastle, in fourth as it stands. Don't get me wrong. They've played a game more. But, we've got Chelsea just above us with 1 point. Fulham are just behind us, even though they've played a game more. With 2 points. So, win this, depending on how the results go, we could be in the top four.
We're playing some good stuff. This is the thing. Like I was saying this on the most recent edition of Matchday Reloaded. Check it out on the channel. And I was saying very good. And that actually, in reality, we are evolving. We've changed. We're playing good stuff. I was almost having to have a word with myself. Going, actually, Owen, you need to be a bit more. Not confident, but like recently I've been going into games and I think it's a hangover from last season when you go into every game and you go, I'm not feeling confident today. But in reality, in every game, this is why I kind of push back on United not necessarily being super clinical, because we've made chances in every single game. And in reality, we haven't looked like conceding for the last however many games as well. Since really that City result, we conceded against Chelsea because of a penalty. Apart from that, did they really make any proper chances?
David De Gea didn't have to do anything.
They hit the bar from a corner. It was actually well, it sounds strange, but in terms of hitting the bar, relatively comfortable hitting the bar.
It was the top of the bar where De Gea would have had it if it was lower.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And in reality, you go actually defensively, we look very solid. I mean, that might change now. Varane's not in there, but I think Lindelof does a good job when he comes in. And going forward, even in a game, say, against Newcastle, where it was 0-0, we had 2 chances at the end of the game that we should have taken, and we should have won 2-0. So I'm not concerned about chance creation. I'm not too concerned about sort of defensive structure and how resolute we are, because I'm seeing different parts of the team coming together quite nicely. So to your point, we are slow. You might not realize it if you listen to maybe like pundits, and stuff like
they're
that.
Saying, it still looks the same.
Exactly,
going on,
but we're playing good stuff, and I expect us to get a result against West Ham. Going to be difficult. Not going to say they're going to come to Old Trafford and do a low block, but David Moyes' side's going to be definitely defensively, resolute. They're going to have, once they don't have the ball and they're out of possession, they're going to have a strong shape. We're going to have to break them down, but we have proven recently that we'll make chances. I have no doubt we'll make chances at Old Trafford on Sunday, and it's just a case of whether or not we take them.
Yeah, it is. It is about that because, one thing in the Premier League as well is we've got to be more clinical. That's the biggest thing. Newcastle was the same. We first half just went by and it was like we just hardly created. Then when Rashford came on. It was better. Couldn't get the win, and then we absolutely smashed Spurs and created loads, which was really good. But should have had even more goals to prove for that, really, especially in the first half. But then against Chelsea, in our last Premier League game, it's like total domination for 30-35 minutes. They changed the formation, but we didn't score. Even once they changed the formation, I keep thinking about that Anthony chance on his right foot was the one. Less so in the second half in terms of chances, a bit more of a bitty game, but with low quality from both teams. But yeah, we hung in there. And again, like you said, I agree with everything you say about our structure and like we're difficult to beat. Like how many times have you seen now, obviously you take out City and you take out Brentford, but how many times, which Ten Hag even said yesterday in the presser, like that City game, like, they came back off off international break, and they basically forgot our principles. They just forgot.
Yeah,
like, just literally. He was like, I can't believe it. But you know, how many times have you seen us sort of running back towards our own goal? They've broken the lines. It's 1-on-1 versus De Gea. Like, we don't. What I like about us now is that we don't give up easy chances consistently.
No.
Like Joe Linton one was Trippier takes a free kick, it hits the wall, it goes back to him, and he just dumps it back in. So it's like, it's a bit of a, and then it goes to Joe Linton, and he should score. That's a bit unlucky. / it can happen. You know, you can't shut out everyone. Every City can see chances. Everyone, does.
You can see chances.
But it's the type of chances that we concede. It's like, well, there's now a kind of certainty or a bit of like a confidence that it's like, well, you know what? I'm confident that Man United have a high chance of at most conceding 1.
Yeah,
it doesn't feel like we're gonna, concede 2 or 3s, and the defense is a big gap between the defense and midfield, and wingers aren't working hard enough, and our whole defensive shape is we're just being played through. Like, it just doesn't happen. Callum Wilson is a quick striker, wasn't once clean through on goal, didn't run behind. You look at Son, Kane, they can split you like a knife through butter. Not once did they do it. When we played against Everton, it was tough, because we started off.
But they didn't create chances.
Didn't create a thing,
No.
Chelsea, Aubameyang runs in behind all the time, hooked him off, didn't even remember he played. Sterling, the king of running in behind and causing problems, forgot he was even there. So, and then against, Ammonia and Sharif, that's a bit different because it's a different game. So I like it. I like the fact that it's just the top end of the pitch. And speaking of that, with this game and, back to this game, you look at what Garnacho did yesterday. And he was refreshing. He was good because we forget, obviously, the last game was a Premier League game before that.
Yeah.
And it was, and Sancho was terrible with the game before that. Got taken off, couldn't wait to get out of there quick enough. And Alanga came on, and I asked Eric about it, and he spoke about it, didn't he? Saying it was a really close call between him and Garnacho, but Garnacho's got the feet in a tight area and stuff like that, and good close dribbling. Who should he start against West Ham? Would you just go with Garnacho again?
I don't know. I was about to say, I still do think, listening to what he was saying after the game, that I still think he might go with Alanga. I think he might go with Alanga.
Would he go with Sancho again?
I don't think so. I don't. I think that Sancho was so poor against Chelsea, and it wasn't just a one-off game. He's been poor the last few games where you're saying that.
Poor against Spurs as well.
Yeah, poor against Spurs, and that's in sides that were playing well. So in effect, we're almost carrying him to an extent.
Against Spurs, we were 100% carrying him.
Yeah, and to be fair, it goes to show how well we're playing in recent games, because we could not carry one player last season at all. We could not do it. Whereas now we can kind of, but you don't want to. So I think Sancho should come out the side. Alanga, again, when he came on against Chelsea, the thing is, it's close between him and Garnacho because their biggest attribute is their pace and their willingness to run in behind. If anything, Garnacho is even more direct.
I was just about to say that. He looks like he has a little bit more. It's interesting to hear Eric Ten Hag say the difference. He was basically saying he's a better dribbler than Alanga. That was why he chose, because he said it was close. I can't remember the exact quotes, because I should do, because he actually said it back to me. But he was actually talking back to me. But I can't remember the exact quote for quote. But he was like, it was close between him and Anthony Alanga. But Alejandro's really good in tight spaces. Good dribbler, he was basically saying, he was like, he was basically saying that he has that over Alanga, where Alanga didn't really possess that trait. But obviously Anthony Alanga will give us different things that Garnacho can't give us as well. Mainly experience as well. He's
exactly.
He's higher up the pecking order as it stands, and he came on against Chelsea and changed the game. Really, in a moment where we were, kind of struggling, the game was really flat, and then we go 1-0 down as well. He was really good. So in that short space of time, so I think he'll go over Alanga.
I think so.
But if he did go,
you would have said, if you were going to go over Alanga, you'd have probably given him some game time on Thursday, because it just would have been, because he hasn't played a lot of games recently.
Give him a half, maybe give him a half, but
exactly, and he didn't. And I think the positive thing. Go on.
Could he just go with just Rashford on the left, just being direct, and just give Ronaldo a go?
He could. He's done it before. Don't think he will.
Do you know? Do you think it changes nothing? Like that he scored, and everyone was like, it's just still the same thing.
I don't think so. I don't
Rashford
think so.
through the middle.
He got asked a question in the press conference from Jamie Jackson that was, Ronaldo scored, I think it was 18, 19 or 20 goals last season. Can he do that again this season? And Ten Hag sort of went, well, he can. Of course he can. And he's sort of basically going, anything's possible. We make chances for him. But I think particularly against West Ham, a West Ham side that we spoke about earlier, defensively solid. When they're out of possession, they'll have their shape. I don't know if you can necessarily afford the staticness that Ronaldo will give you. You might need just a little bit more fluidity. And it'd be better if you did start Rashford and you get that goal earlier, and then it's not the other way around. You're not having what you had against Newcastle. You know what I mean? Whereby you start with Ronaldo, it doesn't work, and then 30 minutes left, you've got to bring on Rashford and hope that his fluidity can offer you something. I'd rather it the other way around. Start with Rashford, get the goal early, and then 60 minutes, bring Ronaldo on, and hopefully the chances will be there. But again, I really don't think anything's changed from before the walkout. I don't think there's anything different. I think he's going to be on the bench.
Yeah, I think what Ten Hag has showed us is that that's where he's at. He hasn't really changed that. I would be surprised if he did. But sometimes, you just got to pose the question and just kind of talk about it on both sides and be like, well, Ronaldo did get his goal. He needed that goal yesterday. I know it's against Sharif, but is that confidence?
And he should have had more. He could have had a hat trick.
Yeah, he should have scored a hat trick. But then, we've seen what it's like against decent teams who can defend properly, who are organised. They kind of isolate Ronaldo. They kind of just take him out the game. And it's whether you're saying you need someone like Elanga or Garnacho on the left going at whether it's Ryan Fredericks or Kufau or whoever's the right back, giving them a torrid time, with Rashford in the middle, linking up, doing the same thing, making runs in behind. Anthony on the other side, just doing the same. Yeah, he's not starting Ronaldo.
The only glimpse into it is that when he did come on against Everton, that's the one time that it looked like there was, I don't know if it's because there was just more space to play in. I'm not sure, but that was the one time I went, oh, actually, that's a bit fluid.
But sometimes, you know what, Owen? Sometimes I will be honest. People know my views on Ronaldo, of what he did, and I did not excuse it. They know my thoughts on, Ten Hag not picking him. I've got no problem with that. I'm not one of these people like show the GOAT respect. I don't care about that. But I do think sometimes we can overcomplicate things. Ronaldo can score goals. He can. In any game, in any phase of play. It doesn't mean if he scores that, he's perfectly fine in the system and everything's fine with him. That's why he should be the main guy. And if he doesn't score, it doesn't necessarily mean, he can never score for us again. He can't give us anything, because literally the game against Everton proves that. It proves that because Martial got injured so early, he ended up playing most of the game. Well, from 30 minutes he was on, and he scored. He got us the winning goal, and there was other chances too. So and then Newcastle not so much, because it was just a game that just didn't happen for him. So if he starts against West Ham, of course he can score. If he doesn't start against West Ham and comes off the bench, of course he can score. He's Ronaldo. But I just think there just needs to be this infatuation from one side or the other that he must either never play again and can't come off the bench.
Or he's got to start every single game.
Or he's got to start every game. Yeah. How about it should be what Erik Ten Hag is saying, which is he should just be a squad player. And a squad player means you can start a game sometimes in midweek Europa League, or you can start on the bench in the Premier League and come off the bench with half an hour to go, or you might start a Premier League game, but you probably won't finish it. You're a squad player. That's what Ronaldo is to Ten Hag.
Or heaven forbid, whatever the manager selects is the right call. It's the manager's call. That's his job.
Just back the manager. On the manager, let's talk about the defense quickly. Lisandro Martinez, I think, is one game away from getting a suspension. I was talking about this in the press box with Adam, actually, from United Stand. And we were basically talking about that. And we were like, you know what? Hopefully he gets booked against Villa. Then you don't have to play the second game against Villa in midweek. So hopefully we can make him play tomorrow. Yeah, because EFL Cup, I think it's the same thing, isn't it?
Does it still carry over? I know, stuff like that. I know, stuff like that used to, because it used to be as well, like FA Cup. It used to carry.
Yeah, I think it's all. I think it's all FA games.
I don't know if that's changed. That used to be a thing.
Well, maybe that theory's wrong then.
If it is the case, I don't know.
Yeah, but he gets a booking almost every time he plays. Martinez, though, he's a high
Although I think he's only been sent off once in his career. I was reading.
Yeah, but just bookings. Like, yeah,
he's very good at walking that line, isn't he?
Exactly, 100%, very smart. You know, that game's against Villa away. They've got Unai Emery. You know, might be a bit resurgent. You know, you don't want to go there without someone like Martinez. But if he gets booked against West Ham, that will be the case.
We really don't want to go there. Look, we're talking about how good our defense has been this season. The bedrock of that has been Martinez and Varane as a partnership. Without neither of them, we've seen what that looks like. We've seen Maguire and Lindelof as a partnership, and I'd much rather both of them, Lindelof and Maguire, be those backup options that can step in if one of them is not available. Not both of them, because we've seen it.
100%. So what would you? So obviously Martinez is going to start tomorrow, Sunday. Sorry. Who would you? Would you go Lindelof again? I'm assuming
Lindelof Martinez. I think that partnership actually looks okay. I thought Lindelof's actually done pretty well. He looks composed. He's still good on the ball as well. He's a bit of it's funny, isn't it? Because he's not as good of a passer as say Martinez, and he's not as
better passer than Varane.
That's what I mean. But he sort of makes up. He's sort of good average. You know what I mean? He's
I've
always
thought Lindelof's just steady. Lindelof's a steady Eddie, man. Like in the past, I think his biggest criticism was he was a little bit soft, like people could bully him and that.
Yeah.
And then I think actually at times he showed that that's not really the case, actually. Like, how often do you just see Lindelof on his arse all the time and getting skinned? He's usually in the right position. He's usually quite comfortable at reading the game. And he's decent with both feet with passing, and he's got a nice weight of pass. And he just plays quite simple. He's a really good squad player.
He's not. You probably won't win league titles with him as your starting centre back.
No,
but you could win league titles with him being a squad centre back, maybe like your third or fourth.
For
choice,
this, when Varane's out, you know what? Lindelof's not bad to play with Martinez for a couple of games until he's back. Well, to the World Cup now, really, because he ain't going to. Because Varane's not back, so 100%. So I hope he does go with Martinez. I mean, he brought Harry Maguire on at halftime. To rest Martinez as well, and I don't know whether he brought him on at halftime to just in preparation for the weekend. But then again, Lindelof played 90 minutes, so I think it probably would just be minutes. Keep him ticking over.
Yeah, exactly. Given that I don't think Maguire would play against Sociedad because that game's really important. But I think it's of the mindset of maybe after Sociedad, like he's gonna have to play at some point, even if it's in just a League Cup game, he's gonna have to play. So you've got to build him up,
or even in the league. Like there's so many games, he's gonna have to play at some point.
Or if something happens to Lindelof or Martinez, like you said, that suspension, he's got to come in. I don't want him to be completely cold. I've got to keep him.
So Ten Hag's managing it. He's managing it really well. I think he's managing it. He will know what he wants to do already with the Maguire.
Exactly.
I think this is really telling because with Varane keeping him out of the side, it's like, yeah, no one can argue with that and stuff. And it's like, yeah, cool. And I'm not saying we'd argue even if it was Lindelof, but if it is Lindelof keeping him out of the side consistently as well. Because, like you said, if Lindelof plays against West Ham and Sociedad, it does say a lot about what Ten Hag thinks about Harry Maguire. It does.
Yeah.
It really does.
I mean, also as well, just thinking about this, given that we've spoken about how difficult our fixtures have been recently, that now's coming the time, now that we've got those top 6 games out the way and pretty well done by as well, like this is the part of the season. I know we're going to stop soon for the World Cup, but we've got to start picking. This is the expectation part where you actually got picking up points now. You know what I mean?
Got to be beating West Ham at home. You got to be picking up points on the road against Aston Villa. Not that you've got God-given right, but you know, Fulham away. These are the games.
But the point being that you would look at it, you would say, actually, you've got. We said, I remember when the fixtures first came out and we looked at these cluster of games. I think we looked at October and we went, that's
October, well, bloody hell.
Yeah.
And we've come out of it well.
We've come out of it well. So now's the time not to slip up, really, isn't it? Now's the time to now really pick up the points. I'm not saying title charge because that's outrageous, but I'm saying Champions League. At the beginning of the season, we were like, I don't even know if we get top 4 this season, honestly. Now it's really on, and we've got to just make sure we're constantly in that conversation. And frankly, with the football we're playing, we're absolutely good enough. We can beat. I truly believe we can beat any team in the league on our day at the moment, and that's a positive for United.
Well, you look at the batch of games. I know there's going to be a big gap with the World Cup, but if you look from West Ham, it's West Ham, Villa, Fulham, Forest, Wolves, Bournemouth. Right, and that takes us up to January the 14th, where we'd play City at home, and then it's Arsenal after that, which is tough middle of January. But just those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the next 6 Premier League games at least. Yes, there's a big gap, but the next 6 Premier League games, it's like, right, Man United, let's go.
Go on a run. Go on a run. And it's not to say that, because like, chances are we're not going to get six straight wins. We'd love it.
No way.
But we're not going to get 6 straight wins. But even if you can get through there with 5, 4, and a couple of draws, even to be honest, even if it was 4 and a couple of draws, I'd be actually like,
it's fine.
You know what I mean? But the point being is that we've had this hard run of games now, and we've come through them. Now's the time where the challenge is going to be that we're going to be dominating games. We're going to have a lot of possession. And now is the time. It feels like it's coming at the right time because we're starting to have possession a lot more in the game. We're starting to play more of what Ten Hag wants us to play. And we're going to be playing teams that facilitate us playing in that style. So as he said, he's impatient, and he's at the right club to be impatient, because so are the fans. Yeah. But I'm feeling actually quite positive. And if anything, it almost annoys me a little bit, because I'm like, I don't think he's actually getting the credit that he deserves, Erik ten Hag, because to come back what we came back from earlier on in the season, like, and to where we are now, playing the style of football we are now, to talking about last season, our midfield's terrible. Midfield's good now. Casemiro and Eriksen. Our defense is terrible. Our defense is good now. The only thing you would say again is you want to score more goals, but we're creating chances. It's not a case of, we're not even making any chances. It's not LVG football. We're making nothing. We are making chances, not putting them away. And imagine if we actually had a number 9 that was playing week in and week out. You know, not
whether it's going to be Martial or whether, exactly. Even if we can get Martial fit back up, well, he ain't going to play after the World Cup, probably. Well, I don't know, actually. There's 6...
He's training.
Actually, I saw him actually sprinting around. So, remember I said it to you when I rang you. I was at the training ground. He did look all right, actually. He was sprinting up and down. Look, I'm no expert, but I wouldn't have said he was a million miles away from... Because Ten Hag said he's due to start with the team now. Yeah. He looked like he's ready to start with the team. He was out working by himself. He was sprinting. He was booting the ball up in the air, working on his touch. You know, when they run into the cones and back, he looked okay. He looked okay. So he looked to me like he was ready to then be on the grass with the team. So actually, I take that back. I think he will play before the World Cup at some point.
He just needs that Varane cotton wool. You know, every time now Varane gets hurt or even the slightest knock, they take care of him so much, like to the point of where even he had a little bit of a knock, he's doing individual training on his own, because they know. That's the case with Martial now, isn't it? It's going to be a case of, okay, Ledley King,
no contact training.
Yeah, you're barely training with the team. You're training your own every week.
Yeah, 100%. And he's so young, he shouldn't even need that. But listen, all of a sudden, Martial is like
look, Marcel, he puts in the training as well. He does individual training for Toca Social. So
does.
You know,
maybe they can learn off his. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They can learn off Marcel's regime. Exactly. Just to finish off the midfield, though, we're expecting it to be the same: Eriksen, Casemiro, and Bruno.
Yes, I expect that to be the same. Fleck, the Cass agenda's got to end. I hate to break it to you.
What agenda?
Wow, and you had some.
You know, there's no agenda. All it is, if you call an agenda, calling a spade, then...
Well, you know why I bring that up? Because I've been painted with an agenda of my own, because I got a lot of messages about Donny van der Beek coming on later on last night.
I bet you did, yeah.
I did. I was like, I don't even have an agenda. I was just pointing out what was there.
No, you challenged him to do more when he's getting brought on, and against Sharif, he probably did all that he could. In that type of game.
I thought he did look sharp, and credit to him as well. I said this on the Matchday Reloaded. Bottom of the 9th. This is his last shot, really, because January is on the horizon. It's got to work now.
He's already not going to the World Cup, so yeah.
And what I would say though is we're playing Ten Hag's style of football, and it has to work now for him, because it's a team that's set up for his style of play. It's the manager that facilitated his move to Manchester United in the first place. So it really is now or never. We'll have to wait and see. The only issue is there are a lot of players ahead of him.
There are, especially in that position. There is. There are and there is. But I just feel that, just not even just on him, so just back to Casemiro. Casemiro is he's just going through the gears, and he's just getting better and better. Passing still a bit of an issue. He hit a couple of wayward ones yesterday.
But that's got better as well.
But he's improving. Better. All I can ask is that he keeps improving in that. But what he brings in terms of understanding the game of what McTominay and Fred cannot bring in that position is just really priceless.
And the stats back it up, isn't it? I think since he starting the games, we've recovered the ball more than anyone in the Premier League. Like that's... You can't argue with that.
It right there.
Exactly. And the positive thing with him, to your point, which I didn't really think about when we bought him, is that his forward passing's better than I thought it would be. He's dangerous. You know what I mean? He was like against at Chelsea. Not only is he winning the ball back, but he's starting moves, and that's invaluable. The only concern you'd have is that it's a great midfield. It's Eriksen and Casemiro, but they're both 31. So it's not a long-term thing.
No, it's a few years. It's a few years at max. 3 years max, really.
Yeah.
And in the third year, you want to be having a youngster there, or not saying it has to be Jude Bellingham, but someone on the rise, taking the mantle from them as well. So yeah, I agree. Are you gonna give a prediction?
Yeah, I'm a changed man, Flex.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll give a prediction. I'm going to go over 2-0 Manchester United. I'm feeling quite confident. I think it'll be challenging at times. The goals won't come early. I'm hoping for one maybe just before halftime, or I could see it being 0-0 at halftime, but the chances will come. We have seen that in recent games. The chances will come. It's just a case of taking them, but I'm feeling confident, so I'm going to say 2-0, which, to be honest, might be a massive curse. So this could be...
listen, it is what it is. No one can come back to this and keep saying, at some point with this manager, we've got to start just feeling positive and going into the game saying, you know what, I think we're going to win. And if we don't, we don't. That's that's where I want us to get to, but no one will let me do it because everyone keeps saying about Judge and Jinx, and
because for you it's real. You have powers that you don't understand. You don't understand your own strength. You don't understand your own powers. I've told you this a million times. I've told you to go around wearing gloves, but you won't do it. Or a hazmat suit if you want, or a lunar suit like they were on the moon. Neil Armstrong settings. You bouncing around Old Trafford like that. One giant step for Fleck kind. Fine.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what then. So I'm not going to give my prediction. I just think it's going to be a draw then.
You don't commit to nothing.
Yeah, because if I give my actual thing, you lot are going to say don't do it.
We can say Judge and we can say Jinx and all that kind of stuff. Don't let it change who you are.
Okay, perfect. I actually think we'll win 1-0. I still think
tight.
Yeah, I do. I still think it'll be. I don't think like 1-0 with them having loads of chances and like all of that, like hanging on, and we just. But I just feel we just won't score a lot. I just still think we've got a bit of a way to do, and it can change any game. I think 2-0's that's a nice scoreline to predict as well. I can see that, but I'm just going to go with my gut. I just think it'll be 1-0, but we'll be quite pleased with it and the way we played. That's what I think. That's what I think. 1-0. 1-0. And actually, I think at times it might be a bit cagey, might be a bit tight. But I think we'll do enough to comfortably win 1-0, even though that scoreline isn't that comfortable. You know what I mean? Yes. Smash the like on the video, peeps. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Let us know your predicted lineup and your prediction for the game, because that's what it's about. It's about getting involved. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. Peace.